My husband and his family treated me as just an ordinary woman and ignored me, but they had no idea that the business they were so proud of was actually built on the foundation of my decisions. My husband and his family always saw me as just an ordinary woman, as if my opinions, my hard work and my ideas had no real value. They believed that the successful business they were so proud of was only the result of their intelligence and effort, but they never knew that the true foundation of that business had been built years earlier on my quiet decisions, my planning and my sacrifices. Even now, sometimes at 3 a.m. when my suburban home is completely silent, street lights shine through the curtains and spread across the floor, the refrigerator hums softly in the dark kitchen, and a late-night TV show plays in the background that I am not really watching. I remember the day when I first realized that some people mistake your silence for weakness. I often sit there holding a cup of coffee, sometimes warm, sometimes already cold, and I think, it is strange how a person can spend their entire life building something, yet the world only remembers the name of the person who speaks the loudest. I spent many nights awake. Sometimes I thought about sleeping pills, sometimes even Ambien crossed my mind, just wanting the old memories and endless thoughts in my head to quiet down for a while. But with time I realized I didn't need to forget what happened. I needed to understand it. I had been part of this family for almost 20 years. When I married David, he was running a small business. A few employees, limited resources, and a big dream. His family believed that one day the company would become something great, and maybe because of that belief they started seeing every success as a result of their own choices. In the beginning, everything was different. David considered me one of his closest partners. He knew I wasn't just a woman managing a home. I had studied business management, understood numbers, recognized people's behavior, and noticed problems before others even saw them. When the company was small, I built so much of it with my own hands. I created financial plans, developed strategies for new clients, and designed systems that slowly helped the business grow. There were many nights when David would go to sleep while I sat at the kitchen table reviewing reports and planning the company's future. But the strange thing was, as the company became successful, people started forgetting who helped build it. My life was never only about business. I was a mother, a wife, and an ordinary American woman. I considered Sunday Costco trips a family tradition. I smiled through Thanksgiving dinners even when I was exhausted inside. I attended PTA meetings trying to be the perfect mother for my children, and sometimes while looking at our 401k and retirement plans, I wondered if we were so focused on securing the future that we forgot to enjoy the present. At first, David's family appreciated me. But success changes people. His father would often say, "The real business mind runs in this family." I would simply smile, because I knew the truth never needed constant praise. Then the company grew larger. A new office opened in Seattle, new clients arrived from Boston and Portland, and more family members started becoming involved in business decisions. Slowly, I began to feel like I had gone from being a trusted advisor to simply being the quiet wife standing in the background. One day, David called a family meeting. Everyone was sitting at the table. His father, his brothers, investors. Everyone. David said, "We want to take the company to the next level and we need people who can make bigger decisions." I stayed quiet. Then his brother laughed and said, "Sometimes it's better to keep family matters separate from business. Businesses aren't built on emotions." It was just one sentence, but behind those words were years of thinking. They never saw me as an equal partner. They only saw me as an ordinary woman. A few days later, I discovered they were trying to restructure the company's ownership and decision-making process. Some choices were being made that could put the entire business at risk. But they didn't know I had something safely stored away. A complete record. Years earlier, when the company was still in its early stages, I had preserved important contracts, financial plans, emails, and strategic documents. Not because I didn't trust anyone, but because I knew that in any major business, memories are not enough. Evidence matters. Those documents clearly showed that many of the company's biggest decisions were based on plans I had created. I never kept that information to use against anyone. I kept it for protection. Then the consequences of their decisions finally appeared. A major investment was at risk. An important client started asking questions. The family became worried because for the first time, they realized that a name and a position were not enough to protect a business. That was when David came to me. The same man who had spent years underestimating my silence. He quietly said, "We need your help." I looked at him. The old version of me might have felt angry. Maybe I would have wanted him to regret what he had done. But at that moment I understood something important. My goal was never to defeat them. My goal was to find myself again. I brought out all the documents. I didn't accuse anyone. I didn't try to embarrass anyone. I simply showed the truth. The room became silent. Because for the first time, everyone could see that the woman they considered ordinary was actually the foundation they had been standing on all along. A few months later, I made a decision that my life needed a different direction. I stepped away from the business, but this time not because someone forced me. It was my choice. I started a new chapter in a place where my ideas were valued, where my voice was not seen as a burden but as strength. When I look back now, I don't feel happy that they went through difficult times. I feel peace because I never lost myself. I learned that the greatest revenge is not proving someone wrong. The greatest revenge is knowing that your worth does not decrease because someone refuses to see it. Morning light was spreading outside, the coffee machine was making its familiar sound, and for the first time in years, I felt completely at peace. I closed my eyes. And I thought, some people only recognize your strength when you finally step out of their shadow. A new day. A new life. A new me. If you enjoyed this story and found its message inspiring, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories of courage, resilience, and hidden strength. Thank you for watching until the end, and we truly appreciate your time and support.